Yeah, the itinerary was good because it was really busy. The kids had plenty to do, plenty to keep them occupied. Also, just allowed a little bit of downtime. So yeah, we really enjoyed the itinerary, and it was good.
I think so. I think the balance was fantastic. Obviously, we played 2 games while we're over here in our 7-day trip, but involved with that as well, there was lots of opportunities to engage with the community and the kids in particular through our school visits. And the competition that we faced, I thought it was appropriate level for our students and our school community, and it ensured that our students had an opportunity to be competitive, but also test themselves against the athletes that are provided over here.
Well, there's a few reasons. Obviously, we wanted to provide our students with, provide them to see different culture, to see different part of the world, while still, using sport as the driver for that. So, yeah, provide our students with a new opportunity while, get to play some international games, and hopefully for the students that are still be at school next year, bring them closer together for our football side next year. The biggest thing, we brought a bunch of students that for some of them, they haven't left the state, they'd never been on a plane. So that exposure for them to actually leave the country was huge. Go through the process of getting a passport, and then on top of that, obviously coming to a country that's so passionate about their culture and the way in which they live, and just being able to see that, and the day-to-day life that these people experience, and then probably on top of that too, to see some elements of how fortunate they are in Australia, and just the things they may take for granted from day to day.
Absolutely. I think I can speak on behalf of Matt, Corey, and as well as the students. Everything that's been provided over here has been to our expectation. It's actually exceeded our expectations, I would say. We weren't too sure what we'd be coming into being in Fiji. Only a few of us had been, and we've been on holidays. But being here at Crow's Nest Resort, 60 metres from the beach, the accommodation, the meals are fantastic. And being able to go on once in a lifetime opportunities, South Sea Island for a day, and going on the river safari today, I think was a highlight for many of our students, and going up into the villages and sitting down and having, the ceremonies, the dancing, and being exposed to, genuine island life was fantastic. Fantastic. The facilities, in particular, going to play at Churchill Park, which is obviously international level stadium, and they play internationals out of that thing. For the kids, the exposure to that, the match officials in particular were fantastic. They were strong, they were fair, and they sought feedback prior to the game on what rules they would like to play in. I think the officials over here, in certain standards, are better than some of the ones we have access to in our regional community in Australia.
100%. That's great. The Fijian people were so friendly, so welcoming, passionate. Just everywhere we went, everyone just had a smile on their face. They always said hello or bula, and we just felt so welcome. And you'd be just driving past, kids in the street, people in the street, and they'd be waving to you, and it was just it was such a good feeling just because of the people. So.
It's probably hard to narrow down everything into a few highlights, but for me personally, being involved as a teacher, and Matt will probably say the same, just the exposure that our students have gained and the growth that we've seen within them inside a week, and just being in a different country, learning to be independent, navigating everything, the ins and out of international travel, as well as the exposure. This will be potentially the one and only time any of our students are overseas for some of our families back home, but also, when else do you ever get to play in an international match at a school level unless you're playing for the Australian schoolboys? So it's really, really good for our kids who don't have quite that exposure at home.
Yeah, well, 100% would recommend the Peteros. It just took away so much logistical work. They have a knowledge of Fiji, they have a knowledge of, they have so many connections, and it was just easy. We were just given itinerary, we were given how much money we had to work towards getting, and everything was easy. There was no stresses when we arrived in Fiji, because we were so well looked after by the people that ran the facilities. But yeah, if you're coming to Fiji, I wouldn't do it any other way. I think you'd be crazy too.
Exactly right. I think it just takes off any pressure that you have to put on yourself, especially from a school perspective, or if you're trying to facilitate one of these tours as a private club. Having Petero's here running it for you, you would be honestly mad to do it yourself, because the amount of access you gain going through Petero's sports tours, it's incompatible to anything you'd be able to do without having any intricate knowledge of Fiji.